good evening, and welcome to probably gonna be an hour or two of playing Minecraft with the kiddo. That would be him, because I like Chun-Li. He likes to copy whatever I have, so we're both Chun-Li. Anywho, that's what we're doing for this evening, and seeing as how I find it, I would imagine it was probably quite boring for most people to watch Minecraft. I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of the roast of Donald Trump, who I love and support. I don't care if you do. It's from a few years ago, back when the media still loved and adored him and wanted his name and his brand on everything. Before he declared as a Republican, at which point the media and the entire left-wing establishment turned on him as if he was some sort of traitor. And they've been, well, you've seen the media. They have been doing that ever since. So, we're going to go ahead and hit this up right here.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Seth MacFarlane, and welcome to the Comedy Central roast of Donald Trump. Or as Donald calls it, the Trump Comedy Central Trump roast of Donald Trump. How do you prepare for a night like this? Personally, I smoked a lot of pot and clearly don't give a shit about this show. So I'm kind of the perfect host for this roast or for the Oscars. Before we get started, though, I do have some sad news. Recently, the roast lost a very talented and beloved performer, and it would be wrong not to acknowledge him and to say how much he'll be missed. Larry King died 10 minutes ago. Come on, Larry, you're old. Don't deny it. Every time you lie, your balls grow longer. And we've got some other familiar faces up here on the dais. We've got Whitney Cummings and Lisa Lampanelli. Very nice. You ever play Fuck, Marry, Kill? Let's see. I think I would fuck Whitney, marry Lisa, and kill myself. And my friend Marlee Matlin is here tonight. It's fitting that Marlee is here for the roast of Trump because Marlee is appearing on the new Celebrity Apprentice. She will be competing for a charity that's yet to be announced, but will probably be some deaf bullshit.
Good God.
What does that mean? What am I doing? And Snoop Dogg is here. Wow. Hey. Now, Snoop, be honest, please. When you were backstage, did you blow Jeff Ross?
Yes, he did. Okay, I'm gonna remember that.
Now, since our man of the hour was foolish enough to agree to this, let's get started making one more piece of garbage with Donald Trump's name on it. And take a look back at some of his other bad decisions.
My name is Donald Trump.
The name is hot and it sells. I own everything. Jetliners, golf courses. I own virtually everything. No matter where I go in the world, people want me. So I had a lot of success. I believe in bragging about yourself.
This is how the media used to view him. Oh, no, these woke idiots would like you to believe that this never happened. But for all of his life, prior to 2015, this was how he was looked at and treated by the media. Entertainment media, journalism media, all media. Hard to believe. Look at this the reel of successes that they're showing. Because this is who he really is, and this is who he still is today. He's always been the same person. What changed is that he declared as a Republican, which they took as a personal insult and a betrayal, because he had actually donated to Democrats for most of his adult life, because most of the people, government officials in New York are Democrats. In order to get anything built in there, Chicago, and other cities, you have to bribe Democrats in order to get anything approved from government, environmental, planning, zoning, all the rest of that crap. You got to bribe Democrats. That's how they work. So he had given heavily to Democrats his entire adult life to get all the shit that he wanted to get built. Atlantic City, all of it. So the minute he went and declared as a Republican, they realized they had no control over him. They realized, or they looked at him as a personal traitor to all of the corruption that they stand for, because he, by nature, is not a corrupt person. He's just a businessman. You can agree with him or disagree with his policies, but he's not a corrupt politician. He's a businessman. He's still a businessman to this day. But yeah, you keep watching this. This is how the media used to treat him.
Do you name things after yourself because you're afraid you won't be able to find them?
It's my real hair, believe it or not. You know, it's actually mine.
I know it's not a hairpiece, but I have no idea what it is.
It looks like you killed a squirrel to me and put it right on top of your head.
It's the Rosie O'Donnell Donald Trump war, and it's on.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired.
I'm going to fire the asses off each and every one of them. You're fired.
You're fired. You were the project manager and you lost, and I didn't like what you did.
It's going to be
Joan is not going to be happy.
God, I love Joe Cruz.
Frankly, if you were running a company, you destroyed that company.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
You know, it felt good to fire someone.
It's actually fun, isn't it?
Don't lend money! Don't lend money!
Please welcome the second worst tragedy ever to hit New York City.
Oh, that's a good joke.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, that's a good
Donald
joke.
J. Trump.
Good joke.
You know, it's good to see you, Donald.
Well,
We've
thank you.
just met, but it's good to see you. Tonight, we honor a self-made millionaire. He started with nothing, worked hard, and made a fortune. That man is Fred Trump, Donald's dad. That's right. For all of his self-starter bullshit, he's basically Jaden Smith with a comb-over.
That's a low blow because Jaden Smith
You're a grown
sucks.
man. You got hair like Dennis the Menace. What's going on here? Did you fall head first into a cotton candy machine? What happened? By the way, the producers have asked me to interpret that last joke for the handicapped person on our stage. The hey situation.
God, I can hate that guy.
Rich guy have funny hair.
And Donald, as long as I have you here, it's pronounced huge, not huge. And here's another one. It's pronounced I am fucking delusional, not I am running for president. That's right. Trump says He says he's going to run for president in 2012. But if his plan for America is to fire everyone, he's about 2 years too late. But for me, it's kind of tough to vote for a guy whose resting facial expression is "who farted." He also sells Trump cologne, and fellas, that stuff can really get you laid. Basically, you pour it onto a cloth and press it to a woman's face until she stops struggling. But even when you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, hard times can strike, and that's just what happened to Donald. He was even forced into the ultimate act of degradation, starring in his own reality show. And soon, the top-rated TV show in the nation starred a total asshole torturing people who were stupid enough to work with him. In addition to 2.5 Men, The Apprentice was also a pretty popular show. This guy has an ego. When Trump bangs a supermodel, he closes his eyes and imagines he's jerking off.
That's a good joke.
All jokes aside, though, I was thrilled when they offered me the opportunity to roast such a brilliant, charismatic, totally self-made billionaire who I believe will one day run this country. And then the Facebook guy canceled and we got stuck with your bloated ass. So congratulations on your big night, Mr. Trump. And now, Donald, let's get our first roaster up here to knock you down like the homeless shelter you had destroyed on the way here. So as she huffs and puffs and rolls her way to the podium, please welcome the Queen of Mean, Lisa Lampanelli.
Oh, thank you, Seth. I love Seth MacFarlane. He's a handsome, well-groomed, confirmed bachelor who sings show tunes.
No.
He's gayer than Ryan Seacrest's asshole. I joke, Seth. I love your work. I especially like that weird baby you made with the enormous football-shaped head. Oh, wow, sorry, that was for my Sarah Palin roast.
I'm a right-winger, so I disagree with that joke, but it's still funny.
Look at Marley sitting up there like she's normal. Hey, Marley, you read lips, right? What's my camel toe saying? Wow, look who it is, Larry King. Yes, Larry King is a legend. In this business, Larry King is known as a triple threat. At any time, he could have a heart attack, stroke, or shit his pants. Larry King is an elderly bastard. Seriously, those suspenders aren't for his pants, they're for his balls. Speaking of old Crips, Snoop Dogg is here.
Snoop!
On a past roast, Snoop claimed I wanted to bang him. Police! If I want to bang a skinny black man with braids, I'll call Alicia Keys. Snoop's not the only musical artist on the dais. Marilyn Manson is here. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Whitney Cummings. You know, Whitney, people in this business hate you because you're beautiful and thin. Not me! I hate you because you're a cunt. Anthony Jeselnik is here. I'll pause for a few moments so those of you at home can Wikipedia him. It's great you're here, Anthony. What happened? Is Daniel Tosh busy getting fisted in Key West? It's great to see my old friend Jeffrey Ross here tonight, doing what he does best, sitting and watching funny people tell jokes. Wow, Jeff, you're even uglier than you were last year. Look at that hair. Look at that mop. I've seen better hair on Susan Boyle's taint. Don't you laugh at a hair joke, Trump. Look at that helmet. What do you say to a barber to get that type of haircut? I fucked your daughter.
Grab it.
Situation from the Jersey Shore. You're all over television. And you have a book out. I tried ordering your book on Amazon.com. Amazon said customers who bought this book also bought a rope and a stool. But enough about Chachi. Let's get to the reason we're all here tonight. Donald Trump. Donald, tonight people will make fun of your looks. Fuck them! You've always gotten beautiful women. You've ruined more.
They're actually friends in real life. They've been friends for at least a decade old at this point. Almost 2 decades now. Actually, very close personal friends.
More models' lives than bulimia. You've disappointed more women than Sex and the City 2. You are the ultimate proof that money can buy good-looking pussy. If you were broke, you'd be fucking me. But that's all behind him now. Donald is very happy with his lovely wife, insert name here.
And she became First Lady.
Donald's
And probably
wife's
will be
name is
again.
Melania, which is Slovenian for get that wrinkled penis off of me. In closing, I would like to thank you, Donald Trump, for letting me make fun of you tonight. Mr. Trump, you are someone to be admired. You have overcome obstacles to become a huge success.
Huge.
You've put up more worthless hotels than an autistic kid playing Monopoly.
Remember a time in this country where people used to be able to laugh at themselves? I have an autistic son, and that joke is funny as hell. You don't need to run around getting offended. People use the word retard all the time. I use the word retard all the time. Ain't got nothing to do with autistic people. I know, I have an autistic son. Lighten the fuck up. Everybody.
Still, you have made Trump more than just a name. You've made it a brand, like Massengill. Because you're a bloated, stinky douche. Thank you. Good night.
Coming up, Larry King, Snoop Dogg, Whitney Cummings, The Situation, Marley Matlin, Anthony Jeselnik, Jeff Ross.
I want to get a music hit from YouTube.
Back to the roast of Donald Trump. Now, we do want to take a quick moment between cock jokes to acknowledge the loss of a brilliant comedian and one of the all-time great roasters, Greg Giraldo. We want to thank him for all the laughs he brought us and recognize all the big laughs that he would have brought us here tonight. Greg, we will miss you. Well, tonight we are proud and happy to be joined by Larry King. As a TV host, he knew exactly when to retire, but he stayed another 20 years anyway. He has a spine like a question mark, as if his body is asking, how did I get 7 women to fuck me? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a chattering pirate skeleton on loan from Disneyland, my pal, Larry King.
This is my career. It's come to this. It's a thrill to be here roasting
They're also
my dear
close
friend.
personal friends.
To prepare for this event, I read Jeff Ross's book about roasts. Jeff, my last prenup was funnier. And unlike you, I wrote it myself. Let's take some calls. My good friend Snoop Dogg said that Jeff's book was unreadable, but that's because Snoop can't read. If you're just joining us, by the way, we're here with Lisa Lumpy Belly. Lisa is a shock comic, but only if you look at her face. Turn down your radio. Coming up in this hour, we'll talk to Mike the Situation Sorrentino. Situation has a new fragrance out called the Sitch, which is also what you call yourself when you can't spell your own nickname. By the way, caller, you have a question? Folks, you gotta try this garlic. It goes down easy, just like Whitney Cummings.
Oh! Oh!
Marley Madeline. Marley, always a pleasure. What on earth are you doing here? You won the Academy Award for Children of a Lesser God and then nothing for years. I don't understand it. You were so convincing playing a deaf woman. Lansing, Michigan, you're on the air. And now, Snoop Dogg. I love Snoop. D-O-double jizzle. That can't be right. Snoop told me during the break that once he had a DNA test that found he is only 71% black. That true? Unless my math is wrong, if you're 71% black, you're 29% not guilty. Congratulations. Donald Trump is not only one of my oldest, dearest friends, he's also an American success story. When he graduated college, he put his shoulder to the wheel, nose to the grindstone, borrowed $6 billion from his father, and started a career. Donald Trump, without a doubt, you're a New York landmark, which means it's only a matter of time until you bulldoze yourself to build some gaudy, tacky monstrosity and put your name on it. We'll be right back.
Larry King, come on. All right, Snoop Dogg is up next.
Let a mosquito in.
That right there was my impression of the receptionist at a parole office. Make way for the most dangerous man in 1993, Snoop Dogg.
Yes. The Snoop D-O-double G, baby.
Seth MacFarlane. Give it up for Seth MacFarlane, y'all. Hey, yo, Seth. FYI, ain't no niggas watching the Cleveland show. From me to you. I know we're here to roast Donald Trump, but I gotta give a shout out to my main man, Larry King, in the motherfucking house. Larry, you know how he is. Larry is cool, but backstage I handed him a joint and he rubbed Ben Gay into it. We got Lisa Lampanelli in the house. Now let me tell you, Lisa is a stone cold freak. Lisa fucked Larry King, Don King, Rodney King, and Billie Jean King in a Burger King bathroom. I mean, this bitch loves to eat, for real. If you want to fuck Lisa doggy style, all you got to do is put a bowl of food on the floor.
Oh!
Now, Tripp. Now, Lisa's had so much sex with so many different brothers, we've even gave her rap names for her fat ass. Notorious P.I.G. You gonna like this one, Russell. Ton DMC. Bust a nut in your face. And my favorite, Snoop chili dog in your motherfucking mouth. Hey, Marley. Marley, you're so fine. Having sex with you would be like rolling up on someone. You never hear me coming. Now, Trip, I walked past Marley's dressing room tonight when she was going over her lines, and it sounded like someone was clubbing a seal. Whitney Cummings. Look at your fine little skinny ass sitting up there. I roll blunts fatter than you, but you've been passed around a little bit more. But right now, things are popping for Whitney, y'all. Everybody in Hollywood is talking about it. And they all saying the same thing. I think that bitch gave me herpes. This is an ugly business, man. I mean, look at Jeff Ross. He's one ugly motherfucker. Now, when Jeff was born, his mother shit during the delivery. And when she looked down, she thought she had twins. That's why he's so corny. Look at his droopy face, saggy skin, rubbery wet lips. If Jeff had a string hanging from his mouth, he'd look like Lisa's pussy. Nah, but seriously though, I like Jeff though. You know why I like Jeff? Because he'll do anything to get a laugh, except say something funny. I gotta say a few more things about my girl Snooki over there. Oh, that ain't Snooki? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. All white people who act black look alike to me.
That's good. That's good.
So, the situation's a rapper now, huh? Shit, I heard his rhymes. The best thing you ever spit was Seth MacFarlane's Jizzizzle.
No!
Check out your hair, your shaved chest, your plucked eyebrows. There used to be a word for guys like you, and that word was gay. I guess that's still the word. And man, stop lifting your shirt up like a prison bitch, or else go out in the corner and get me some motherfucking money before I go upside your head with this coat hanging. Now, it's time to talk about the real player, Don Juan, Donald Trump, the Donald. Now, from me to you, Donald, I wish I had half of your money. But for that, you need a 20-year-old's pussy and a divorce lawyer. Now, I may not have half his paper, but I got twice the dick, and you can believe that. But on the real, though,
God.
I love to fuck one of Trump's ex-wives, just to know what it's like to come into money.
Oh, my God. I remember these. These are good.
Donald say he wants to run for president and move on into the White House. Why not? It wouldn't be the first time you pushed a black family out of their home.
Interesting note. While Snoop sort of stayed out of the political thing, even though he's actually friends with Trump, has been for quite a while. He stayed out of the political thing all during Trump's presidency and all that mess. But now that Biden's in the White House and Biden sucks, Snoop has come out with a line of weed that is... Oh, God, I gotta find a picture of it. It makes fun of Biden, and it basically is like, it'll get you so high you won't even know where the hell you are. And it has like stuff about the Chinese Communist Party on it. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, the left doesn't understand this, but the black community loves and respects Trump, or at least the overwhelming majority of them do. There's videos I can show you from Doc Rich, from a bunch of other YouTubers, that they get from other people that You know, they're going through the different low-income neighborhoods and in the ghetto, in the hood, in different cities and stuff, and they're talking and asking people and stuff. They want Trump back. They don't like Biden. Which is amazing considering the Democrats keep trying to tell us, oh, you know, the black people, they supported it. Nah. No. Oh, they have a long history of voting 93% plus, at least for all we know, for Democrat candidates. But they actually really liked and respected Trump and thought of Trump more or less as one of them, as something to be emulated. Oh, there's a lot of black women who, you know, went on black Twitter and just ran up the mouth. But the overwhelming majority of the black community has a decent amount of respect for Trump, especially black men. Because they admire him. Because this is what they want to be. I mean, hell, a lot of guys would want to be. Take the politics out of it. Again, this is how everyone used to view Trump, as something to be admired and as something to be emulated as something of a role model for guys who wanted to be successful and move up the ladder and get to the top of financial industry, corporate, you know, America and all the rest of that mess. The minute he turned Republican, turned on him.
But on the real, though, Donna, you know I got love for you, man, on some real shit, and I ain't playing. From one pimp to another, much respect. Keep banking that Skrilla. And after the show, come by my dressing room. I got a couple 19-year-olds in there, some sticky, icky, and I'll get you so high that you'll fire yourself and put my name on the motherfucking towers. I'm out.
Coming up, Whitney Cummings, Marley Mack, and The Situation.
Razor sharp wit of a crack whore. Razor sharp wit.
I love for you, man, on the name on the motherfucker.
Our next roaster, Whitney Cummings, can be seen this summer in her one-woman show, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Swallowing. She's got the body of a crack whore, but she's got the razor-sharp wit of a crack whore. Now, some people say Whitney struggles with bulimia, but I'd say she's actually pretty good at it. Please welcome the drag queen of mean, Whitney Cummings.
Hi, guys! Wow! Keep it going for Homo Simpson. I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll start with Larry King because, I don't know, TikTok. Larry King, you have had a heart attack, bypass surgery, you have heart disease, and you recently got stents placed in your coronary artery. Take a hint. God wants you to die. The Situation is here tonight. This is actually very exciting for me. Yeah, clap it up. I actually love the Jersey Shore. The Jersey Shore cast is Italian, but at first I thought that they were Mexican because they're so tan and they're always doing laundry.
Oh!
The Situation, you are ridiculous. What is with that spiky hair? Your hair is so black and fried, Lisa doesn't know whether to eat it or fuck it. And you need to stop tanning right now, Mr. Situation. You are so orange, Snoop Dogg should be wearing you while he's on his knees blowing his cellmate.
You a fool for that. You a fool for that.
People make fun of The Situation. They make fun of the fact that he's always lifting up his shirt to show his abs. I endorse it. In fact, Mr. Situation, I suggest you lift up your shirt even higher so that it covers this situation. Snoop Dogg is, of course, here. Hilarious. Round of applause for Snoop. Come on, that was hilarious. Snoop, you have butchered the English language in your music. You have 2 G's in the word dog. You use izzle and fizzle at the end of everything. You speak worse English than Marley Matlin. Lisa Lampanelli is here. Lisa, thanks for making time to be here. I know you're very busy starring in I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant. Anthony Jeselnik is making his first appearance on the roast. This is the first time someone has lost their virginity around Donald Trump without him having to promise them American citizenship.
Good joke.
And now for the man of the hour, Donald Trump, everybody. Give him a round of applause. Come on. Donald Trump, you are known for your terrible haircut, and now I can see why. Your hair sucks. You look like Justin Bieber caught on fire. You're obviously very rich. Donald Trump is literally rolling in dough, which means he knows what it's like to fuck Lisa Lampanelli.
Oh! Oh!
Donald, you are gross. Nobody likes you, but you come back every couple years and nobody knows why. You're like the McRib.
Donald's is nasty.
You got Melania a huge 12-carat diamond engagement ring. You should not have gotten her a diamond. Now she knows what hard is supposed to feel like.
Oh! Good joke. Oh, good joke.
You recently said that you wanted to run for president. That is such a publicity stunt. If I wanted to support a greedy whore who's pretending to run for president just to get on TV, I'd vote for Sarah Palin. I'd say stick...
Yeah, that's right. This is how the left treats supposed feminists. This is how the left feminists treat actual women. Almost got it. Phoenix, you let a mosquito in, damn it. Yeah, I'll get him. But yeah. If you dare disagree with the left, they don't care if you're a woman. They'll take you down, even though they claim to supposedly represent all women.
Stick to your real estate, but all of your buildings are hideous. The Taj Mahal in New Jersey is horrible. There hasn't been a shithole that big on the shores of New Jersey since the situation took it to the ass from Pauly D.
I wouldn't know. I don't watch that shit. Never did.
Donald, you're also, of course, responsible for that awful show, The Apprentice. The worst part of that show is having to stare at your face. Your face is so big and bloated with such a bad hairpiece, I'm surprised it's not married to Kelly Preston, pretending not to be gay. On your show, The Apprentice, you have had Nene Leakes from The Real Housewives, Brandy Roderick, and Lisa Rinna. You've given more uneducated whores on-camera jobs than Fox News.
Might I add that Whitney Cummings is moderately funny most of the time. Some of her political jokes are even pretty funny. That was actually a half-decent joke. But it's also a swing at women that are more attractive and actually probably make more money than she does. So it's a good joke, but it's also, yeah. I don't like feminists.
Well, Donald, thank you so much for letting us roast you tonight. You're such a good sport, and you're actually pretty handsome when I see you up close. So if you ever want a fourth wife, hit me up on Facebook. I love you guys. Thank you so much, New York.
Up next, The Situation, Marley Matlin and Jeff Ross.
Welcome back to The Roast. This is a big milestone for The Situation, because tonight is the official beginning of his 15th minute of fame. Now, a lot of people laughed at him for hooking up with his co-star Snooki, but, Italians are known for grinding organs with monkeys. No need to clap. He already has it. Please welcome The Situation.
Oh, that's a good joke.
Thanks, Jeff. Jeff! Can you believe this guy with his capped teeth, his hair products, and his fake tan? I mean, you're actually looking good, bro. Now, I know a lot of you people are here tonight to watch everyone shit on the dumb guy that all the Italians are ashamed of and disgusted by.
And for good reason.
You know, Lisa Lampanelli.
No.
Backstage, she took my hand and shoved it down her pants, and I pulled out Larry King's teeth. And Snoop's 2 Source Awards. Whitney, what's your deal? You look like the chicks I used to bang before I had all this money.
Do it, baby. Do it.
This wasn't
chick,
funny
right?
when he did it, and it sure as fuck didn't age well.
Mike, you're doing really well right now. You've got a ton of endorsement deals. You've got a clone, a vodka, a workout video. I mean, you've got your name on everything except a high school diploma. And Sitch, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, man, but if you spent half as much time reading books as you do chasing skanks, you probably wouldn't have AIDS.
Oh!
Sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, Dad.
I love Jeselnik.
And now for the man of the hour, Mr. Donald Trump. Donald, you've got a great sense of humor. You've been so happy to embarrass yourself on Saturday Night Live in the casino business. You know, Donald Trump is such a douchebag that if you look up the word douchebag in the dictionary, there's a picture of Spencer Pratt. But if you look close, Spencer Pratt is holding up a picture of Donald Trump.
I don't even know who the fuck Spencer Pratt is. Don't care,
Donald,
really.
I'm not even sure if you're aware of this, but the only difference between you and Michael Douglas from the movie Wall Street is that no one's going to be sad when you get cancer.
Oh, yeah, there will be. That's all right. Still a funny joke. Can you imagine Hollywood today reacting like that? They'd be clapping, go, we can get cancer. Yeah.
Of course, Mr. Trump, despite everything I just said, you're a great sport for being here. Thank you for letting me be here, too. Thank you very much.
Coming up, Marley Matlin, Jeff Ross, and Donald Trump.
All right, what can be said about our next roaster, Marley Matlin? Virtually anything, because she can't hear shit. She appeared on The L Word, where she portrayed a deaf lesbian. In fact, Marley has become a hero among deaf lesbians, or as they prefer to be called, earmuffs. Please welcome my good pal, Marley Matlin.
Well, thank you. As you can see, I'll be speaking with the help of my signer this evening. And to be honest, I'm a little self-conscious about my voice, because I've been told by thousands of people that when I speak, it sounds like Whitney Cummings with a dick in her mouth.
Sit the fuck down, situation.
I guess I'm the perfect choice for this roast, because like the situation, I too have never heard the sound of laughter. In fact, the deaf community has a special sign for everyone up here on the dais tonight. Snoop Dogg. The Situation. Anthony Jeselnik. Whatever. I don't even know who he is. Larry King. Seth MacFarlane. Whitney Cummings. Lisa Lampanelli. And of course, over there is the legendary roast master general, Jeff Ross. Can you believe that he actually asked me out? I said, Jeff, I'm deaf, not blind. I have to say, it's such a thrill to be up here with an esteemed peer like Lisa Lampanelli. I won the Oscar for Best Actress, and Lisa won Best in Breed at the county fair. Not many people know this, but I replaced her on the L Word. Apparently, the only way she would eat pussy is if it had French fries in it. Marley, I can't do this anymore. She's an Oscar-winning actress, and I can't do this. I'm out of here. See you later.
But can anyone else speak for me? Can you talk to me?
Here it comes.
Hello?
Yes! Gilbert motherfucking Godfrey! Yeah!
I will be happy to sign for the great Marley Matlin. The Hammerstein Ballroom. Speaking of ballroom, Mr. Trump, how are those Spanx holding up? And the developer, Donald Trump, has done so much damage to the New York skyline, instead of calling him the Donald, they should call him the 20th hijacker.
Fuck off, it's funny. Especially 20 years later. Oh, shut up.
Donald always says money can't buy happiness, but it can buy the best Eastern European horse New York City has to offer. Donald has told many a tale of vivacious walkers of the night and their mystical extra hole.
Good God.
They come from a faraway land to suck the blood and ill-gotten bank accounts from wealthy but stupid billionaires. Tell us, oh great Trump, where are these women of who you speak, who possess the coveted fourth hole? For we shall not rest until we have all experienced the pleasure of the four-hole Eastern European whores that are currently doing blow in your dressing room.
Get that right.
Did I get that right?
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. You're the best. This has been a real thrill for me. It's not often you get a boss that can laugh at himself.
Correct.
Now, please stop staring at my tits.
Up next, Jeff Ross and Donald Trump.
Our final roaster of the night, Jeff Ross, is one of the fattest names in comedy. Whenever he walks out on stage, my first instinct is to hurl an angry bird at him. Please welcome
the Roast Master General, Jeff Ross.
Wow. This is exciting, Trump. Are you having a good time?
Good time.
All right, well, tell your face. All right, I love this. Russell Simmons, man, it's great to see you, man. Very cool guy right there. Salute you and all you've done. Are you here to sign Marley Matlin to Def Comedy Jam? And if you're just tuning in, folks, this is not a memorial for Larry King. Larry, I love you. You've been a great sport tonight. Give him some love. The former hunchback of CNN. His first caller was Alexander Graham Bell. I love you, buddy. Larry King Live. Even the title was an oxymoron. The first time Larry covered an uprising in Egypt, he interviewed Moses. Larry asked him if he thought the whole thing was a pyramid scheme. I love Larry. He recently quit his show. He plans on spending his retirement opening a jar. Since our last roast, the comedy world has lost a great friend, Gary Coleman. He died recently from multiple aneurysms, which is kind of like different strokes.
Forgot about that one.
To Gary Coleman.
That was a good joke.
Whitney Cummings is back again. Some of you may recognize her from her porn name, Whitney Cummings. Whitney's so busy these days, currently working on 3 pilots. And that was just on the flight in. Whitney, thanks for yelling your act at us like always. This is the first time Marley's glad she's deaf. Actually, what an amazing woman this Marley was. Wasn't she funny tonight? That was awesome. That killed. Wow. First deaf Oscar-winning actress, you know what? And I met her before the show, and I gotta tell you people, what a cunt. I love you, Snoop. Snoop Dogg, he smoked so much weed, he actually had to write a song called, Hey, What's My Motherfucking Name? Lisa Lampanelli. Lisa's vagina is so big and full of black dudes, Trump's turning it into a housing project. Good idea, right, buddy?
Not bad.
Not bad.
You know, Lisa, her vagina is so beat up, its nickname is Rihanna.
Oh!
For some reason, Donald, the situation is here for you. I'm looking forward to the cancellation. You're the best. I hear the next season of the Jersey Shore is going to be shot in Italy. Is that right? I hope that's just a sneaky way of deporting you. Oh, he's all right. He's all right. Let's talk about this guy, the guest of honor, my friend, the great one, Donald Trump, everybody. You like my trumpador?
Looks good.
Thank you. Trying to honor you in every way I can. But Donald and I have a lot in common. We both live in New York. We both play golf. We both fantasize about his daughter. Ivanka, you're the most beautiful woman in New York. You really are. Give her a round of applause. She's awesome. Donald, doesn't it drive you crazy that you'll never build anything as high as me and Snoop right now? Donald's ego is so big, he videotapes himself masturbating and then masturbates to that video. Donald Trump is such an egomaniac, he makes Hitler seem like he wasn't completely sure how he felt about Jewish people. Melania, you look so beautiful tonight. Give her a round of applause. She's been a good sport. So gorgeous. These two are so compatible because they both yell out Donald's name when they climax. Donald! Donald! And now you're going to run for president. Don't you think that's a really cool idea, you guys? You'll keep them honest. You'll keep them honest, Donald. Personally, I hope you win, because I can't wait for the the inauguration. Donald Trump, by sitting here tonight and letting us do this, you proved to every American voter that you have thick skin, that you can take a joke, that you are a man of the people. And no matter what happens with the election, you will always be the king of New York City. Greg Giraldo,
this is how the media used to treat him.
Thank you very much, everybody.
With respect.
Great. Up next, Donald Trump fires back.
And now, at long last, we're going to see something very unusual. Donald Trump is going to get up in front of cameras and talk about himself. But before that happens, I want to see you all in the boardroom. Donald, I would love to fire you off this roast tonight, because someone needs to be held accountable for this hour and a half we can never get back. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to blame your team. And believe me, they are the worst, most incompetent, bungling group of losers I've ever seen. But Donald, it is your brand that's at stake. So get on up here and defend your legacy. Defend yourself. As a man who was born with a silver stick in his ass. A man who has everything except human emotions. A man who, in addition to everything that's been said about him tonight, has also done a lot of gay stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you. What a great honor it must be for you to honor me tonight. Especially here, where I've made my name and fortune, New York City. Great place. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mr. Trump, sir, why would you ever do this roast? Honestly, it was worth it, because it's all going to charity, and they paid a lot, believe me. But the truth is, I specifically handpicked these recession-era, basic cable nobodies, so that the city I love, the city that never sleeps, could finally get a well-deserved nap. That's right. This dais is the perfect metaphor for where America stands today. Look at our economy, barely moving, gasping for air, and desperately clinging to life, very much like Larry King. The only difference is, with Larry, we have a never-ending supply of gas. Never ends. This great country of ours was built on its entrepreneurial spirit, and that spirit is best demonstrated by none other than my friend Snoop Dogg. His is a tale of do-rags to riches. True. It's true. He's very proud of that. That's why I'm so happy to see Snoop sitting up here next to his former rival, Biggie Smalls, right here. I want to talk about one of the women on the dais. This amazing lady struggles with a seemingly insurmountable physical handicap. I speak, of course, of Whitney Cummings. Whitney's career is crippled by her foul mouth. To hear that filthy language from someone so marginally attractive is frankly very unpleasant. Lisa, or as I call her, Miss USDA, I want you to be a judge at my next Miss Universe pageant. You're perfect because, like the universe, you're constantly expanding and filled with dark matter.
Oh! Oh! Good one. Good one.
But there are some things that have brought shame upon this great land of ours, besides Lisa. I speak of the atrocities that we as a nation must endure, like the Jersey Shore. A piece of advice, my greasy friend. You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't. Look how great my hair looks, and I don't use anything, and it looks very good. What's the difference between a wet raccoon and Donald J. Trump's hair? A wet raccoon doesn't have $7 billion fucking dollars in the bank. Very funny. Okay, very funny.
Seems appropriate. A friend of mine bought in Ohio. Bought this for me a couple of years ago, seeing as how this is the end of the Trump roast. But definitely not the end of that man's story in politics. This seems appropriate. El Chito!
America is going through tough times, and we all need to laugh. True. I know that better days are ahead.
The hell? What is this? Oh, that's interesting. Somebody put this at the end of it, probably to avoid copyright. Oh, well, that's interesting. Fascinating. Anyway, that would be the end of the Trump roast. From there. I can't wait till 24, because it's going to be very entertaining. Either certain people who do certain corrupt things in Central Count, in certain blue cities, namely Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Detroit, Phoenix, Atlanta. Philadelphia already. What's the other one I was missing? There's one other one I'm missing. Vegas. At any rate, either they allow certain things to happen for a second term, or they choose not to. And if they choose not to, things are going to get real bad real fast. So, thank God I'm here in Texas. At any rate, we will see how all of that plays out. Whatever happens in the coming election this fall is going to send a massive signal, and there's still going to be voter fraud this fall as well, because there always is. They didn't used to care about it so much in the off-presidential years, but after 16, they realized they made such a massive error with dishonest counting at central count in those major cities that they've been doing since the 80s, but not at the level they're at now. When they realized they made a mistake, they decided to never make that mistake again. And you saw in 2018 where, especially in Milwaukee where we used to live, counting things that have, they've always done this, but not to the level that they were at now. I think because, frankly, they didn't have the funding to pull off that level of dishonest counting. Like I said, they've been doing it since the 80s. Just not at the level they're at now. Their screw up in 16 scared the hell out of them to where they had to overcompensate in 18. And in preparation for 20, but in 18 they did the test run for the governor's race in Milwaukee. And the exact same thing happened where, 4 or 5 in the morning at Central Count in downtown Milwaukee, all of a sudden, Republican candidates who were ahead when everyone went to bed at 11 o'clock suddenly were down by 10,000 votes. And the exact same ended up giving the governor's race to Democrat. The exact same thing happened in 20. I actually went to the recount. And since I'm on the subject, I have that to prove it from the recount in Milwaukee. And the recount in Milwaukee the 3rd week of November of 20. And I saw all of the, well, not all, I would say the tip of the iceberg of the stuff they get away with legally, where things that are illegal to count are allowed to be counted by corrupt election commissions appointed by Democrats, which is precisely what happened in Milwaukee in 20. And that was just the stuff I saw. Where things missing witness signatures and all kinds of other things which are required by state law to be sent back to the voter for correction. Numerous stacks of absentee ballot envelopes all stamped with City Hall on them. The address of them. And numerous other things I don't want to get into, that they were doing long before. They were doing this long before. But prior to Trump, they used to bring in people from out of state to steal elections. Then when voter ID was passed, which is the reason they fought it so damn hard, until they realized they were never going to be able to sell, continuing to block voter ID to the public. There we go. Anyway, once they realized they weren't going to be able to win that issue of voter ID, and that it was inevitable that voter ID was going to happen in most states, they switched from busing people in to rigging the absentee ballots. And they did that in 16. This is a thing that's never talked about by the right. They actually did that in 16, and the number of absentee ballots in 16 went through the roof. The thing of it is they thought they had such a lead over Trump that they didn't account for all of the people who had been polled who would not admit to supporting him publicly. And so their numbers were off. Thus, the procurement of supplies that they use for voter fraud were off. And as a result, they fucked up and ran out of fraudulent ballots at about 4 or 5 in the morning after the election of 16. They were short by about, I believe, 15,000 votes, somewhere in that area. And that scared the hell out of them. And they were determined to never let that happen again, which is why the minute he got in as president, I mean, they had already been savaging, attacking him, but they didn't really fully take him seriously until that happened. And then at that point, it began to be more of a coordinated campaign to take him down. Because the reality is, number one, they hated him because they thought he was a traitor because he had donated to them his entire adult life just to get buildings built in various places. He'd always bribed Democrat politicians. He's got a long history of donating to Democrats. Google is it's not exactly a secret. The right didn't actually trust him precisely because of this. So that's why in that election year, a lot of people were on board for Ted Cruz, who I don't like because I think he's a blowhard. Along with the hell was it, Santorum, or whatever the hell his name was. It wasn't until Trump announced his list of Supreme Court nominees that conservatives looked at that list and were like, okay, yeah, we're on board with this. We're good. We trust him. And it was at that point that everyone got behind him and has been behind him 100% ever since. And it has never wavered. And it never will waver. There are people who are on the fence who are not hardcore conservative or of the right or whatever. Those people, they don't like his personality, which is fine. It's debatable. Whatever. But some of them like his policies. But those of us over here on the right, like I said, I didn't trust that man until he released his list of Supreme Court nominees. Hold on here. I'm just going to mute that. Anyway, that was the wife calling from work. But yeah, as far as that whole situation was concerned, like I said, they... trying to get the picture.
I'm Seth MacFarlane.
Hold on. No, not you. You.
Earmuffs.
Yeah. What the overall majority of people have heard about this entire situation with the right-wing support for this man? We didn't fully support him until that list of Supreme Court nominees. That's why he got the other half of the Republican Party to support him. You will never hear this from the left because the left has a vested interest in lying because they have control of the entertainment industry, the journalism sector. Now they've got control of several corporations, and they've got control of most levels of government. Even when he was president, they still had most control of most levels of government because they've been infiltrating it for years. Because basically what happened is in the 90s when the mob got taken down, the mob learned one very important lesson. If you get targeted by government and taken down by government, the solution to that problem is to become government. And so for the past 2 decades, that's what has been happening is members of organized crime have been slowly infiltrating into various federal bureaucratic agencies, the FBI in particular. FBI, IRS, CIA, and all kinds of other things, so that even while he was president, you had constantly having leaks, having this, everything they could to undercut him. Because the reality is that he is the biggest threat to their ideology that exists. Because their ideology is one of corruption, dishonesty, and using people who they don't genuinely care about in order to build a coalition of people based on victimhood. Without that narrative of victimhood, their entire side of the aisle falls apart. Because they're all, at this point, they didn't used to be the case decades ago. But ever since they ousted Joe Lieberman, who was a good, honest Jewish man, I disagree with a couple of his political, points of view on a few things, but he was a good man, good Jewish man. He tried his best to serve his country. And in 2005, 2006, they ousted his ass from the Democratic Party because he was not somebody that certain people in control of that party could control. Because sometimes he went with the right and sometimes he didn't. He went by his conscience. The people of Connecticut, they loved him. But the Democrats took him out in a primary. They purposely ran somebody who was far left against him, and they took his ass out. And ever since then, that party has been 100% radical left. So you've had, nearly, at this point, almost 2 decades. It was, 2005, 2006? So we're coming up on getting close to 2 decades ago where they went full tilt radical left. And so their entire strategy of everything is heavily based on Marxism's principle of oppressor versus oppressed. If you don't have that narrative, you have nothing if you are that party on that side of the aisle. And where he comes along is he is a direct threat to that ideology and that message that people are victims. His entire... And the man's not a god. He's just a human being like anyone else. It's just that he did take moderate inheritance from his father, and he turned it into everything you saw before he went into politics, and then eventually into politics and became president. But even before that, his name is on shit all over the world. He took what his dad, mid-level inheritance. I mean, his dad was rich. He wasn't among the richest people in America. He was rich. And he took that and turned it into a worldwide brand. With his name on shit everywhere. TV shows, you name it. His entire message was that I understand that I didn't come from the gutter. I came from wealth, but look with what I was given, look what I've made, and you can do it too. All you need is hard work, principles, honesty, accountability, and whatever, and negotiation and some compromises where you can. That was his whole message, and they fucking hated him for it because it directly flies in the face of everything the left now stands for. Well, it really has always stood for, but especially now, the past 15, 20 years. So that's why they hate it. That plus they thought they had some measure of control over him, and when he declared as a Republican, they realized they had none. So, and if you're a feminist, the concept of a successful man who can quite literally get, even at this age, if he wasn't married, he could probably still get because he's got money. Any girl on earth is the polar opposite of everything feminists believe. Women's lib and all of that stuff. He is the antithesis to everything that they claim that they give a shit about. So you have all of these people who hate him because of that, and then they use their control in the mainstream media and in journalism and now in corporate America and social media to get everyone else, like a bunch of fucking parrots, to regurgitate exactly what they believe. So now all, a good portion of, really it's about a third to about 40% of Americans believe their bullshit instead of the person they actually saw on TV doing what he's always done, being a boss. So, like I said, in 24, they're going to have a choice. Because the groundswell at this point and the anger especially in the black community, but of people who are hacked off at the current jackass running the country, who I can tell you for a fact was not legally elected, based on what I saw with my own eyeballs. And again, I'll put this up. From Milwaukee, third week of November 2020, from what I saw, that motherfucker currently in the White House was not legally elected. Oh, he may have been certified elected, but he was not legally elected. So in 24, they're going to have a choice of whether to do that again or not. And I'm in Texas, and I can tell you that there's a movement on the ballot, the movement among the Republican Party to put a measure on the ballot next year in an off year as to whether or not the people of this state would support the concept of secession. I don't know if they'll actually go through with what they're claiming, with what they say that they want to do, but 90% of the Republican Party leadership in this state voted on to put it on the Republican Party platform a couple months ago, that they are promising to put a referendum on the statewide ballot next year in an off year where nothing else is on the ballot, to ask the people of this state whether or not they would support secession. And from what I understand from polls, it's about 70+% Republicans would support that, 59% of independents would support that, and about, shockingly, 26% of Democrats would support that. Which is just shocking. But yeah. So, if that actually happens and you have a statewide ballot, it's not legally binding. You'd have to get, 2/3 of the other states. I don't know if it's their representatives in Congress or if it's their actual state legislatures, but either way, you'd have to get 2/3 of the other states to approve letting you go, or you would have to launch a war of rebellion. One of the two. And there's some support on the left for the concept of letting Texas go, because if Texas were to go, they would have unchallengeable support in the U.S. Congress and in all presidential elections. They would have a monopoly, or enough to essentially maintain permanent power forever. Because without Texas and Florida, there's nothing to counter New York and California. So if Texas leaves, you only have Florida versus New York and California, and it's not enough if the Democrats will win every fucking election. So there's a certain amount of support on the left for the concept of letting Texas go, precisely because they will literally have permanent unchecked power forever. Which basically means as soon as that happens, if Texas were to ever actually be granted the ability to leave, I guarantee you we would not be alone, because the other states who are Republican would see that happening, see that they no longer have any power in Washington, and a lot of them would suddenly be on board with the concept of also seceding. So, like I said, they're going to have a choice in the late night morning hours of the night of and the morning after Election Day of 24. The people who commit all the illegal activities in the middle of the night in Milwaukee, Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Phoenix. There's probably a couple of cities I'm missing there. Those people who are heavily engaged in committing those illegal things and have been for a very long time, they're going to have a choice as to whether or not they're going to enforce their will upon the country, or whether they're going to let the country have that one. And whatever the results of that election will be will decide the future of this country, because even a lot of people on the left are now sensing this may very well turn into a civil war. I'm of the opinion that the way we're going, I don't see how it's avoidable, because they've been launching a culture war for about the past 50 years, and they really ramped it up to almost the equivalent of pre-Civil War levels in the 1840s and 50s, where the North constantly looked down on the South. And then after the war, well, it was about slavery. It's partially about slavery. What it really was about was a culture war between the North and the South. That's what that conflict was really about. The subject of slavery didn't really become a thing until about halfway through the war, and only because both sides had suffered so many hundreds of thousands of casualties that Lincoln felt the need to justify on moral grounds why so many people had died. For what good moral purpose? And at that point, the slavery became the central issue of the war. Until then, it was not. Look at all the documents you want. So really, what caused that conflict was decades, actually, of a culture war that had been brewing really since the founding of the colonies, because the North and the South were basically just two different fucking worlds as far as their people. You had people from the South who traveled to the North and were like, I don't know how the hell people can live like this in these massive cities. Who the hell would want to live like this? And then people from the North would go to the South and they would look at it and go, look at all these slaves and all this and all that. The subject of slavery was separate. Part of it, but it was separate. What the real issue that motivated people to kill their own countrymen, including some families that actually split over lines between North and South, it was a culture war of right-wing people of that era versus left-wing people of that era. We are on the same road right now. Even during the American Revolution, you had the Loyalists versus the Patriots. The reason why it was the American Revolution is because you had the Loyalists summoned in outside third-party help from the British Army, because we were still a colony at that point. They called in the cops to come and enforce their will upon the rebellious colonists. You actually read some of the papers during the American Revolution. That revolution was just as much of a civil war as anything else. On the battlefield, it was fought between the Continental Congress Army. Somebody tell me in the comments. It's 11:30 at night. My brain's fried. But on the battlefield, it was fought between American troops and British troops. But where it was really fought was the culture war being fought between essentially the equivalent of the media of that era, the printing press. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have TV and radio and all that. You had the printing press. You had right-wing newspapers and left-wing newspapers. Southern newspapers and northern newspapers. You had two cultures just at it. Two very different cultures with two very different groups of people with two very different sets of morals about what was or was not acceptable. Culturally. I can tell you right now, everyone in the North thought everyone in the South was lazy as hell. Now, I will tell you, having grown up in LA, and then having lived in the Midwest, to the point where I spent half my life in Los Angeles and the other half of my life in the upper Midwest, living in the heat, even in LA, it's not usually over 90 for long periods of time. I mean, it is, but it isn't. But here in Texas, all summer long, even at nighttime, it doesn't usually get below 85. It's hot. It's not Phoenix hot, but it's hot. And it's moderately humid. And I'll tell you, it does something to you. It makes you tired. Even when I used to when I was working in the garage when we first moved into our house, I'd be out there and I'd be trying to fix our cars and doing brakes and this and that, whatever. And I'd have to take breaks like every 15, 20 minutes, just, drink half a gallon of water. It would just make you tired. So anyway, it would just working down in this heat would make you tired. I noticed that when we moved here. I was like, holy hell, I've never been this lazy in my life. It does do something to you. So there is something to be said for that. But yeah, like I said, you had a culture war. And right now, we are in the middle of the largest culture war in this country since the Civil War. And before that, there was the culture war that raged for about 50 or so years Well, we're actually almost really 100 years since the English Civil War, which, although all those battles took place on English soil, the colonists were not immune from news from England and taking sides in that conflict ideologically, even though there was no battles fought on, what would eventually become American soil. Shortly after, in the early stages of the building up of this country, you had a massive civil war in Britain over the proper role of government and the right of authority of the king to rule versus Parliament in the English Civil War. So really, since this country started being built, you had the influence of the English Civil War upon the culture of this country, which heavily influenced this country to the point that it eventually ended up having an ideological crisis and a culture war between the Loyalists and the Patriots. And then after that, you ended up having a culture war between the North and the South. And if you look at those conflicts, the English Civil War was in the second half of the 1600s. American Revolution was in the second half of the 1700s. Civil War was in the second half of the 1800s. These things tend to go in cycles. We probably already would have had the latest round of Civil War back in the 1960s, but the fact that World War I and World War II had happened had depleted U.S. manpower to the point where the taste for warfare was not where it normally otherwise would be. Well, now we've had 80 years since World War II, since the people of this country have seen an actual, genuine war. And a century and a half since people of this country have seen an internal civil war. Cultural, and then eventually on the battlefield. The way we are going right now, that's where it's headed. So, we're going to see what happens in 24 with the whole thing with Mr. Trump here. My understanding is it's going to be him and DeSantis as his vice president, which I think is a bad idea because you need DeSantis in Florida to keep doing what the fuck he's doing. But if you're, a right-wing person like me, I support the hell out of that guy. But, yeah. If you're a person who pays attention to shit going on, you realize that this is a pattern that we've already seen in the history of this country, and it's happening again. And before America was even here, it happened in other places, in other wars. There's videos on YouTube you can see where people track, there seems to be about an 80 to 100 year cycle of major wars. It's like the men go to war and they die and they come back and they have kids, and then it's like one generation or two generations or three generations, and then those people have no living memory of what the last war was really like, so young male aggression being what it is, people having success being what it is, a lot of people become corrupt, and the cycle starts all over again to where it's a downhill spiral, to where you have conflicts between people, and eventually it erupts into sort of internal civil conflict. And that's where we're at. We are, I would say at this point, we are in the early 1850s. Headed right towards 1860. Which, like I said, if they allow Trump to have a second term, it will piss off many people on the left. But because they control the entertainment industry and the mainstream media, they know that they can do and a lot of levels of different agencies of government, there's only going to be a certain amount that he can really do. Whereas if, well, it won't be Biden, whoever the hell they try to put up after Biden, Harris or whatever, if it's that person, the people on the right don't really have any level of control over the federal government at pretty much any level, because it's all run by lifetime corrupt, mostly union members, government union members, but people who cannot be fired. And the overwhelming majority of them are left. You can see by the voting patterns of Washington, D.C., it almost exclusively votes Democrat in like 80 to 90% numbers. So all of those people are in control of the federal government, and you have all these people out here in this part of the country going, we may have token representation, but we have no control over any part of this anymore. Fuck this. And that's where we're at. I'm hoping that secession vote gets put on the ballot next year, because I'll tell you right now, I'm fucking voting for it. We just got here to Texas, and I'll be voting for it. I don't want this place to turn into California. And I'm from California. And I've got friends and I've got family that are in California. But I don't like Los Angeles. There's parts of LA that I do like, things about it with a cultural exchange and, different foods and different peoples running into each other and the melting pot aspect. I like that very much, always have. But the corruption of the Democrat Party not only in Los Angeles, but all throughout California politics, especially in San Francisco. No, I don't want that, any part of that. And I don't want that here. And we got enough of those assholes running down there and settling in fucking Austin, which is ruining that fucking place. And it's weird. You could drive down there and it's like, you go to Austin and it's like the San Fernando Valley in LA, which is, where the second half of my childhood was spent. Where there's large swaths where there's no homes. It's just apartment buildings and fucking condo buildings. You go to the north side of Austin and it's like just that. You don't really see a lot of homes. You just see massive condo and apartment buildings everywhere. And people pay for the price of what you would pay for a home for one of those fucking boxes in the sky. It's just idiotic. But that's how the left wants to live. In a box with other people. Whereas people on the right are like, fuck that, I want freedom in land, and I want to be away from other people. I don't mind the commute. I just want to get away from other people and have, control over my property. The left does not value that as much. They would rather live in a group. Whereas people on the right don't usually want to live in a group. They want to live by themselves and have control over their own shit. Why one of the reasons we're so big on private property rights. One of the reasons I'm extremely anti-HOA. And I mean extremely anti-HOA. Fucking hate HOAs. Like a non-government government where you have to pay people so that they can tell you what to do with your own shit. No. Not acceptable. So, that's the political segment of the evening. I'm going to finish this bridge here, and then I think I'm going to call it a night after that. If you've been watching this long, I greatly appreciate you spending time with us here. I'm sure my boy would love to say goodbye, but, well, it's 11:45, and he has to be at school tomorrow, so he already went to bed. He takes naps in the afternoon when he gets home from school, so he's always up really late. We won't finish this bridge here. Oh, I have screwed up. Hold on. Hold on. I need me some sand. Perfect. All right, well, that bridge is done. And I do believe that is going to be, we're going to call it a night here. So it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. And I hope you have a pleasant tomorrow. Have a good night.